Well, good morning, everybody. Keith, aka Gator Guy 231, here to break down Wednesday's three-game EPL late slate. Wish I could be as excited about this slate as I was on the early slate that posted last night, but I think while the early slate has tons of guys you want to play, potentially some chalkier construction and cash just because of how soft all of the top/optimal plays are. That you might run into some lineups where the defender does end up maybe deciding cash is like give me a defender and goalie slate, but I still love it. This slate, I can see so many different ways people are going to attack it, and it really is all going to depend on how you see the outcomes of the games going. So just a quick reminder, bottom right of the screen is the subscribe button. Please hit that if you are interested in all the soccer, all the NFL, soon to be NBA, all the stuff we have free to our YouTube channel. It really does help. All right, let's talk about the three games. We have Fulham hosting Brighton. Fulham is a slight favorite, looking a lot better the last few weeks. Just had a great result against Liverpool. Honestly, held their own versus City too, considering things. So Fulham is an interesting team for sure. We have Liverpool hosting Spurs. That is the big game that all the eyes are going to be on, but also the one where the pricing is really, really tough. And then the final game, we have West Ham versus Palace. Remember, all three of these games kick off at the same time, meaning we'll have lineups for all, making things a lot easier. I guess let me just go game by game in terms of just who I think is in play. Keep in mind we are mostly talking about optimal cash construction. Obviously, other guys that are more goal dependent, very much in play based on your lineup construction, but I am just talking from mostly like a cash type of lens. So I do want to talk with Fulham and Brighton because I think while these have the least appealing names and not the most household names, I guess the best way to say it, they might have some of the better plays. So starting on the Fulham side of things, I think depending on the lineups, Ivan Cavallero might be the best point per dollar play on the slate. He took all the sets versus Liverpool without Harrison Reed in. Tom Kearney seems relegated to not playing anymore. Then Adam L. had taken a few sets, but now it looks like it's going to be Cavallero's job. Additionally, he's playing a very attacking role, kind of in like a two-striker system. So versus Brighton, Brighton seems to go up and down in terms of their play. I think Graham Potter's a good coach, but it's just not. They're just not like a great defensive team by any means. So Fulham should have some opportunities. So at sub 6K, forward eligible on sets, I think Cavallero's a pretty easy play. The rest of their lineup is just interesting how you want to go. I think Robinson, USA guy playing left wing back, sub 5K, is a really solid play. He's consistently getting in that 7 to 8 range, giving you some double-digit upside. Bobby Reed is the one playing the right wing back's position now. He's forward eligible. He scored versus Liverpool. I don't necessarily think he's somebody that we don't want to all of a sudden go crazy with Fulham here. I think that there's a lot of the other good plays on the slate are forward eligible. So I think Cavallero's where I'll stop and probably have Robinson in play too. But if you want to go really weird Fulham stack, I guess. Areola actually popped off to me as a goalie too. I know do not love talking about goalies, but did find it interesting that he was under 5K at home in Craven Cottage. I think they're at home. Hope I had that right. Craven Cottage did have people there versus Liverpool too, so that makes a little bit of a difference. So I think that covers Fulham. I mean, they're mostly it's Robinson, Cavallero. I half consider Lookman or Reed for cash, but probably not. For Brighton side of things, Pascal Gross, he's getting up there in price, but he's still taking a majority of set pieces. We also know he's on PK duty. He and Solly March split. I like them both. I think Solly March price per dollar is a little bit better. He's plays in a left wing back position, so in addition to some corners, he also has a lot of open play value. But Gross too, if you just want to get both of your forwards from here, you could very easily do it. I think in a lot of ways, from a cash perspective, on a slate where you have Kane, Son, Salah, Mane, that your forwards may end up being guys like Ivan Cavallero, Pascal Gross, or Jared Bowen. That's why this late slate is not nearly as attractive as others, but I think they're all fine. So yeah, Brighton to me is just gross. And in March, Lamptey I think is going to be a game time decision. Veltman didn't look great out there, but he's had games that he swept them in, but he's no longer like 3,300 like we had him on the last slate. I think he's 4,100, so might just be a little too expensive on the slate. Just depends. As a last man in type of guy, I have no problem with it. That's Brighton. Any of the Malpay, Trossard, any of those other guys, Welbeck, GPP guys for me. All right, let's move to West Ham versus, I keep forgetting, Palace. There we go. Jared Bowen's really expensive, but he is forward eligible. We know from back to last season, after he made the move from Hull, he was phenomenal for West Ham. He's been close to a double-digit machine. He had a little tick down earlier this year, but also due to matchup. I think versus Palace is a good spot for him. Again, so he's going to take those in-swinging corners. High shot floor, just a good player. So, yeah, it sucks to spend 10K, but in my opinion, versus Palace, he has similar goal upside to like a Salah, Mane, Kane, or Son, and probably better floor than all those guys, just when you adjust for matchups. So I'm high on Bowen, even though the price is gross. Aaron Cresswell was back at left back. Funny enough, we got Cresswell back at left back, so we got him in a better position. He wasn't a center back, and he took less set pieces. But I think I would prefer the Liverpool guys to Cresswell just based on price. We have a similar type of price. We have a similar type of role with split set pieces, and I just think Liverpool has the potential, based on how Jose is going to play, I'll talk about it in a minute, to end up having a ton of crossing opportunities, because I think Jose will just play very, very deep and just, as Jose says, kill him on the counter. So that potentially is, how we've seen some huge Liverpool fullbacks days when teams bunker like that. So I think I'm a little bit ahead of them on Cresswell, but if you don't have enough money and Cresswell fits perfectly, I don't mind it at all. Said Benrahma, I think is worth looking at too. He was a shooting. Look, he shot a ton in the championship. His first start for West Ham, I think he took 5 or 6 shots versus Leeds. He is playing like a 10 role, so you're not going to get a lot of crossing from him. He's not taking any set pieces, but a really, really talented player. So I like that play. Forward eligible, I think he's like 7K. So if you want to save off of Bowen, I'm very okay with you doing it. Kufal is the only other cash play really for West Ham. He's fine as a right wing back. The rest of the guys to me are just more GPP. On the Palace side of things, unfortunately, the Palace pricing is just kind of insane. Eze took most of the sets. I think Townsend now seems to be out of flavor now that Schlupp is back in. He's fine for cash, I guess. I would rather choose a little bit more of a favorite. To me, it just becomes, if he was 7,000, I think he'd be fine for cash. But I think if I remember right, it's 8,600 or mid 8s. It's really tough. Especially if, I just feel like I'm always worried that he's not actually on a set monopoly. Milojevic could take, he's like a 3,800. He's actually a guy that, if you think there's even a shot, sorry for that little spin there, my dog decided to try to knock me down, but you think there's a chance he could take some sets. I think 3,800, we've seen worse. We still don't know if he's on PKs anymore now that Zaha's been taking and not missing. I doubt that Milojevic gets him back, but I guess there's an outside shot of it. But yeah, for Eze, I just think he's a little expensive. Schlupp's a little expensive. Zaha, again, probably a little expensive. I think he's fine for GPP, but I think just Palace for me is just all GPP. All right, final game, Liverpool hosting Spurs. Liverpool is a slight favorite. Technically, I think they're the biggest favorite on the slate. Did not play great over the weekend. This will be interesting to see if Liverpool gets up for this game. I feel like they are not getting up for a lot of games recently. This one they might do it, especially at home. So I kind of already hinted at, tactically, I think that Jose obviously is going to sit very deep, try to hit Liverpool on the counter, which is his preferred way of playing. If that's the case, TAA and Robertson could absolutely go bananas. They're by far my 2 favorite plays on Liverpool. Obviously, if one's in without the other, that only makes it even better, because that guy might have more of a set monopoly. It is worth noting that if TAA were the one to sit, he is still just had his first 2 games back from injury. I'd assume he keep playing, but especially in this type of game. But if he were to sit, Nico Williams was a fine price, but it actually may give Jordan Henderson a share of sets. I can't really remember what his price is at, but probably mid 4Ks, so you could do worse. But yeah, I think Liverpool is potentially in the situation that they could accrue a lot of DFS points even without a goal. Salah is really expensive. He's going to need a goal to really pay off that price tag. You know, you could easily go the other side for Son, who at least has some sets. But I mean, I think Salah is fine. Just all depends on how you see the Liverpool game going. Like if you think Liverpool's going to score 2 or 3 goals, you potentially even lock in Salah. I think Tottenham's a little bit too good to get absolutely ran out of the building. Although I do think that the game flow, especially early on, could make it look like that. So Salah, Mane, to me, more GPP, just because we do have other forward-eligible cash options. Love the fullbacks, Arnold, Trent Alexander-Arnold, and Robertson. On the Spurs side, look, they at this point have 3 viable DFS players. It's the bromance, so Son plus Kane, and it's Hugo Lloris. I think Hugo Lloris is very in play. Just pay all the way down at keeper, especially if Liverpool is, you know, applying a lot of early pressure. Lloris is going to get save opportunities. I think Son and Kane are a little expensive for me. Even Son on a set monopoly, I do worry that possessionally this game could get a little lopsided. I think Tottenham at this point, we're just seeing that they are very, very comfortable without possession. So it kind of takes me off of those 2 guys. But again, like, they're just in such amazing form. They probably are like the best partnership in world football at this point, which is just crazy to say. But I mean, they're just that good and that dynamic. So I can't fault you for playing them. I can't fault you for stacking them, especially in GPP. That might be a low-owned stack with them as the biggest dog, and they could very easily show up with 2 counterattack goals here. I don't think Liverpool's defense right now is playing exceptionally good. All right, well, that will do the slate. That's all 3 games. I hope this helps. This is a tough slate, so if you are making builds and you realize that you don't love it, I don't think you did anything wrong. I think it's just the nature of the slate, the pricing, and just the fact of the matter is if we had even one of these first games on this slate, I think it'd be that much easier. Just the way it rolled, and now we got some tough games to target, but let's crush. Guys, thank you again for watching. Keith, aka Gator Guy 231. Good luck, and see ya!